Morning.
Morning. Welcome to Ashton under Lyne.
On our way into Manchester, we passed through Portland Basin, which is directly behind the camera, in front of Joe and I. To our left is a collapsed bit of fencing and, well, not towpath, but, you know.
Walkway.
Yes, and we saw a rat running around in there, using it as their own personal little ecosystem.
And we also saw lots of Canada
Geese.
Canada geese.
What we didn't do, because we didn't look carefully enough, was see a mole, a badger, or a toad. But they're there.
Well,
in a little boat.
Petrified after all the fireworks last night.
No, I hope they aren't actually petrified.
Yeah, so we've got about an hour to go till we get to a place called something that I've forgotten.
It's the junction where there used to be the canal, which is now a boatyard. But that is a long out-of-water canal that now really just provides a bit of a boatyard.
Yesterday we were on the Huddersfield Narrow Canal. We also briefly visited the Peak Forest Canal, so that was fun.
Yes, very good.
Just to get some diesel. And now we're on the Ashton Canal, and at the end of the day we'll possibly be at the junction with the Rochdale Canal.
Or we'll be in Manchester on P.L. Port's waters, and then it'll be an entirely other issue.
Yeah, but we've got an hour to the locks and then 18 locks, so we should probably stop yammering on and get going.
Yes, which is the point at which we will move the cameras to the back, everything will get repaired, we'll get pushed off, and then we'll start yammering on as we record A talking at the tiller.
Yeah.
Yay!
Cold today.
It is a bit chilly. On you go! What a good doggies. Let's try not to hit that piece of concrete, Michael. No, that's all the fall colors I need for a year.
Spring, please.
We're done. Moving on.
We're heading west out of Ashton under Lyne on the Ashton Canal. From here to Fairfield Junction is about 2 miles through urban Greater Manchester. This canal was once lined with mills, wharves, railway interchanges, and other canal-side industries. This canal was first proposed in 1792, following the success of the nearby Duke of Bridgewater Canal. It was originally to be called the Manchester, Ashton under Lyne, and Oldham Canal. The main line of the Ashton Canal is only 6.5 miles long and has 18 locks, but for the next 2 miles the canal stays on one level. When the canal was first proposed, the plan was for it to remain isolated from the rest of the network, focused solely on the transportation of goods to and from Manchester. When the Huddersfield Narrow Canal, Peak Forest Canal, and Rochdale Canals were subsequently built, linking routes were then opened up to connect the Ashton to those waterways and beyond. While only the main line survives today, there were originally other arms and branches, including the Islington branch and Ancoats, and the Stockport, Hollingwood, and Fairbottom branch canals. To begin with, the Ashton Canal was fairly successful. It carried coal and raw materials to the mills and returned finished goods to Manchester. It also transported stone for construction, and even passengers. As is the well-known story, when the railway age took over, the prosperity of the canal declined. The textile industry was also in decline, and the coal mines were closing. In 1933, the canal was still carrying 50,000 tons of goods per year, but by 1955 that had reduced to just 7 tons. By 1958 there was no traffic at all, and so maintenance ceased and the canal fell into disrepair and eventually became unnavigable. The Hollingwood and Stockport branches closed in the 1960s, and they were completely lost. The main line looked like it was going to suffer the same fate, as the local council wanted it permanently closed and culverted, but that work kept getting postponed due to fears of financial overruns. After public advocacy, the decision was made in 1971 to save the canal, and teams of volunteers set to work clearing and restoring the parts that had deteriorated. In 1983, the canal was reclassified from being a remainder waterway to a cruising waterway, which is how boaters are still able to enjoy this canal today. The Ashton Canal is now part of the Cheshire Cruising Ring and the South Pennine Cruising Ring. In some of the urban stretches, it's not the prettiest or quietest of canals, but it's well worth the trip if you're visiting Manchester. Here we are passing the Ashton Packet Boat Company, which is located on the site of the former Ashton Moss Colliery, where boats were once loaded with coal. The boatyard has been here since the 1970s. It originally opened to restore historic wooden narrowboats, but now offers boaters a range of services such as blacking, welding, boat fitting, and surveying. Beyond the boatyard, we pass into the M60 motorway bridge. It's always so depressing to see the canal still occasionally used as a rubbish dump. Here we come across a whole mattress that has been dropped into the canal. We reach Fairfield Junction, which is where the Hollingwood branch used to meet the main line of the canal. There's now a small and friendly marina located here. From here to the end of the canal at Ducey Street Junction is just 3 miles, but there are 18 locks in that distance, and we will drop a total of 118 feet along the way. I jump off the boat to work the locks as Joe is going to pilot the boat through this flight. The water does not look very healthy here. When the canals were booming, there were plans to convert the locks into twin locks to reduce queues, but only the top 2 locks were completed before trade started to show signs of decline. Only one of each lock is maintained for use today. As you can see from the width of this lock, this is a narrow canal. I love the architecture of the twin staircases either side of the lock. You can see behind Joe a brick shed that can house a narrowboat. Dedicated boat parking garages aren't a very common architectural feature. I've somehow found the energy to run between the locks, and poor George is trying to keep up. While she's waiting for me to open the swing bridge, Joe gets to watch the game in the canal side playing field. The canal is now lined with apartments, not mills, and one of the residents comes out to meet George. Joe arrives at Clayton Top Lock first, so she moors up and gets the gates open. These missing bricks inside the lock are actually foot and hand holds for climbing out of the lock chamber. Thankfully, all of the locks have now had actual ladders installed too. Lock 13 cuts Crabtree Lane in two. There was once a swing bridge here that linked the roads, but it's long gone, although a footbridge still remains. Next to the lock is the rather wonderfully named Strawberry Duck Pub. There are geese here, but not ducks, and they're definitely not the strawberry variety. Below Lock 11 we pass Clayton Junction, which is where the old Stockport branch left the main line and headed south for about 5 miles to Stockport. Lock 10, also known as Vinegar Lock, is actually the deepest narrow lock in the country, with a fall of 13 feet 10 inches. It does seem deep, but then I remember that both Tool Lane Lock on the Rochdale Canal and Bath Deep Lock on the K&A are wide locks that are over 19 feet deep. We're passing the Etihad campus now, which is a large community sports hub. In the distance we catch a glimpse of Etihad Stadium, home to Manchester City Football Club. There's a lockkeeper's cottage at Beswick Toplock. The historical building is a bit of an outlier as it's surrounded by modern apartments. The Co-op Live Arena has been built right next to the canal beside Lock 6. It only opened in 2024, so it must have been a building site when we last came through this way. It certainly gives quite a unique view from the lock, one that must have been unimaginable to the boaters that were using this canal 200 years ago. Under the railway bridge and across the aqueduct at the same time. Then round the bend and on to the home straight to Ancoats, where the canal is once again lined with old mill buildings. The last 3 locks on the Ashton Canal have dropped us down to Piccadilly Village, where we're going to moor for a while.
We're in Manchester. We're surrounded by lots of tall buildings. We're at the top of the Rochdale flight. Well, not really.
No,
we're around the
aren't we
corner.
we're top of the Rochdale 9.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. All
But I
right.
don't think we've come onto the Rochdale yet. I think we're still on the Ashton. But we don't really know.
No, it's a bit confusing.
But this is a good place to stop and pause for now while we work out our next move.
Yes.
How was your trip today?
Exhausting.
Yeah, it's tiring. Parts of the Ashton Canal are quite depressing. As you come into Manchester, it's not so bad. But
Honestly, it's better than it was before.
do you think?
Well, there's a lot less of the actual heroin injection
We
happening.
didn't see any heroin injection.
That's a lot less. Right? The last 2 times we've seen heroin injection. 100% of the times we visited this part of Manchester, we've seen heroin injection happening. So the fact that there's none, that's a significant drop.
We're moored up with 3 other boats, so it's quite nice to be in a little community of boats.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be too noisy.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. We'll find out tonight. It might be absolutely horrible. Next time you see a video, we might have moved to Birmingham.
For
But
some peace and quiet.
but there's a cat on that boat, so I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And the cat seems quite popular. So yeah, we're here. We're here for, well, we're in this area for kind of an unknown amount of time,
Yeah.
but it's going to be probably for winter.
Yeah.
So that's good. I need to start making a routine, and I need to do that
No.
now.
All right, you get off. I can do the fire and everything.
You sure?
Yeah.
It's complicated. It involves ignition.
I'm an intelligent woman.
Yes, but millions of years of evolution have made it so we both have fundamentally equivalent capacity to do this, and yet I've been doing it every time.
Yeah, but you did all the driving for 7 years and look.
It's because I'm the one that doesn't mind blowing my own arm hair off.
No, but listen, you did the driving for 7 years and I've pretty much done it for the last 2 months, so...
Yeah. And you're starting to realize why it's harder than doing the...
No, I much prefer it. I'm having a much better time. I see you struggling with those handcuff locks. I see you struggling with the heavy
I
paddles.
do struggle with them.
Some of the doors that don't, because the water doesn't equalise.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just sit here and chill on my boat.
Yeah.
There are moments of stress, but on the whole, I'm having a much better time.
It's different stress, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't miss... I haven't gotten to the point where the locks are stressful enough that I miss doing the boat movement.
No.
Like, there are times when, my backseat driver wants to kick in.
Yeah. And sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does, but you got to be impressed with the number of times it doesn't.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. But there was one time when you said, well, I can't remember. I don't think you were doing well that day. But I was coming into a lock and you were like, shut that gate, then shut that gate. I dropped that paddle and I'm like, in my head I was like, really?
Yeah.
But internally I was like,
I might have been
okay.
reciting it to myself for all I know. But yeah, it's...
You just tell me to brake now. Like you're about to hit something. But then I did that to you all the time. Like,
You did it to me less often than I've felt the need to do it. Just because there's a few times where you brake soft,
yeah.
and I would brake hard. I would bring the boat to a halt,
Yeah.
and you brake to like, oh, we're still only
gonna-
moving forward.
We're going to kiss it. Yeah, because I like to come into locks and I like to drop the paddles and stuff while I'm still coming in, rather
Yeah.
than like do a hard acceleration to come to a complete stop.
Yeah, no, I get that. I just, I know how thin our front bumper's gotten.
Yes, that's true. We've needed
We
it.
need to replace a new front
We've
bumper.
needed it for like 3 years.
We don't need to replace a new front bumper. We need to replace our existing front bumper with a new front bumper. If anybody
Alright.
knows a good source of front bumpers. We
You-
also need a new mooring line and a new hose.
Yeah.
I'm going to find a coffee.
And a paint job bag.
Find a coffee and a paint job and a blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm going to do right now.
Alright, I'm going to edit a vlog.
Okay.
Cuddle
You
my
enjoy
dog.
doing that?
Like
You enjoy
a
doing that a lot? You enjoy doing that a little? I'll see if I can find some hot beverages.
Okay.
I burned the inside of my mouth so bad, I'm not sure I'll be able to taste anything.
Right.
Right.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to minimalList Maximal Velocity. What was that?
Maximal velocity.
You hit the bell if you want notifications. There was a really cute moment just before we go when you'd gone to a lock and I was on like near the boat or something and we were both you were dealing with George, I was dealing with ropes, and then you started walking back to me and we both realised you'd forgotten the windlass and we both went It was quite cute.
Yeah. I was like, she understands. We have mutual communication here.